Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome back to another of my videos. Today we are going to be talking about the Cromwell B, and whether or not it's worth it. I will be showing some good games though, to help you guys decide whether or not you should spend 4,000 gold on this vehicle. Starting off, I do think this is probably one of my favorite tier 6 vehicles in the game. It's just such a strong vehicle. It has 13 degrees of gun depression, which most people do not know, which makes it super strong at pushing on ridge lines and using this amazing 4.8 second reload with mediocre penetration of 145 to just pound your enemy over and over. I did get a nice snapshot into VK's track wheel there. And you'll see this gun is just able to put on pressure, and I know I have a quicker reload than this guy, so I'm going to snap another shell into him. And I see red coming up behind me, so I'm going to try and avoid him, clear the VK with my lightning quick reload, and push behind. Really, this is a tough circumstance for the tank. I will pull up the armor profile. But you'll see it's super weak. The fronts are like a 30 thick, the sides are 25, and the rear it's about 20 thick, 30 thick. Even the turret all around is 60 thick, and when using all 13 degrees of your gun depression, you're still an easy penetration everywhere. Your turret only goes up to about 80 millimeters thick. So one thing you do need to stay clear of when running this vehicle are KV2s, because if a KV2 can get an HE on you, he will kill you every single time. Unless you get lucky and the shell hits your track, even when just hiding your turret and thinking that you can snap him, all he needs to do is hit your turret anywhere and you're pretty much dead. You can see though that this vehicle, it's just so quick. You're able to put pressure on pretty much anybody and do it easily. You can see I'm just pounding this AMX over and over before my teammates can actually even shoot him with this lightning reload. And I do like the look of the tank, which is a big selling point for me, because I don't like to run vehicles that don't look nice, because I really don't run the Lupus that much, even though it's overpowered as heck, because it's so ugly. But you can see in this game I got 2.2 thousand damage, 50,000 credits, 5 tanks destroyed. I managed to pick up a Radley Walters there. And that was just a walk in the park game. Wasn't really anything super tough to do in there. You do need to know how to run a medium tank though, because this is not a frontline tank. You cannot really be super aggressive in this vehicle. It does have quite a bit of hit points at 1020 with the hit point buff, but still, it's not going to fare too well against tier 7s. One shot from a T29 and you're down 30% of your hit points. Not to mention tank destroyers or anything. You really want to stay clear of any Soviet tank destroyer, KV2, Su-100Y, Su-152. Those are all vehicles you want to stay clear of. 120mm guns you usually want to stay clear of, but it is very nice to permanently track people with this reload, because it is so quick. This tank is a very nice damage per minute though of 2,000, which is really, really good for a tier 6. The Panzer IVS is 2,100 damage per minute, just to give you an example of how good this tank is. And this tank has gun depression over the Panzer IVS, it has mobility, it has camo. It's just such a better tank in my opinion. Even when compared to the Cromwell B, this vehicle just beats the Cromwell B. Compared to the normal Cromwell, it beats the Cromwell in every single circumstance. It has more gun depression, it has the exact same gun, same speed, even though the Cromwell only turns at 33 degrees a second, the Cromwell B turns at 50 degrees a second, which is a big difference. The Cromwell B is just a way better vehicle than the normal Cromwell. There is not one worse stat about the Cromwell B than the Cromwell. Every single one is better. that is different, which is a bit of annoyance because Wargaming is pretty much just making a pay-to-win vehicle by doing that. But since this vehicle is so cheap, I really think that everybody that has the money, you should pick it up. This is probably the best money for your buy, especially just because how cheap it is to get the vehicle. 4,000 gold, how much money is that? That's, is it like $15? That's super cheap. I'd buy this thing 9 times out of 10. It's sort of like the CDC on Black Friday. You see them run around. You should see a lot of Cromwell Bs running around on the map now, and they will probably annoy you, which will be quite annoying, but after a bit of time, they will start to die down a bit. But it's just the gun depression that makes the vehicle so strong. You're able to work ridge lines, and you're able to permanently track heavy tanks, and you're able to use your gun depression. They can barely even see you as you just pop out and shoot them and annoy them over and over and over. And you can see this excellent mobility as it stays at 64, even going higher when I go downhill. I put on my fast reloader. I did make a bit of a mess up there, but I managed to track him, which I got very lucky on. I always want to target the SU 122-44 just because it has a better gun. I'd rather have one slow reloading 400 damage gun than two. You can see these games are fairly simple. They do require a bit of work, but you can see the payout: 64,000 credits, 2,200 damage. These were just 3 games in a row I played in the vehicle. I only played 3 games in it because this vehicle it's super easy to do well in, as you can see. It sort of ruins the matchmaker, to be honest, how broken it is. I do think Wargaming should rethink their strategy on premium tanks like this, just because there's not one downside of this vehicle over the Cromwell. The only thing I will say is the Cromwell does have a cooler camo, the football camo, but other than that, there's really no point. Now, one thing most people do not know is that even though the gun on the Cromwell B looks like a little stub, sort of like the Excelsior gun, it is not the Excelsior gun. It has better penetration, it has better aiming time, it can really easily pen any target that it aims at, so do not get fooled and think that it has bad penetration. It will pen you every single time. Even at tier 7 it has relative ease penning through. The gun is just so accurate. The dispersion is okay. I wouldn't suggest to do any long range shooting with this vehicle. You won't really hit much. But you do want to be careful. You can't expect to run this vehicle and just be, hey, I'm in an overpowered tank, and run into the middle of the battlefield. You need to know where your team's going. You need to push accordingly with that. You need to see what enemy vehicles they have. Anything that can pen you, well, everything can pen you. So anything that has more damage per minute than you will just eat you up like a piece of cake. Tier 7s will target you because you're so easy to penetrate. Really, any 150mm gun will penetrate you super easily, even when using all of your gun depression. Can see though, managed to bully this SPIC. It is a very fun tank to run. And for how cheap it is at 4,200 gold, I think it is, I would suggest to pick it up. E25, not as much. The E25 really isn't a practical tank to run in a tier 7 game. It does have a very nice camo rating, but the only issue with the E25 is that it is a tier 7, as you know, which makes it more expensive. And not to mention, the E25 really doesn't do enough damage for the tier it's in, when you could buy an ISU 122S, which has more damage per minute, more damage in general, 400 damage compared to 160. really the 25 is just outclassed by the other vehicles in Tier 7 as of right now. That is the only issue with it for me. I have been killed by a bunch of double platoon E-25s, so which is quite annoying. But you can see this. I'm just working all of their team's vehicles to death. And you can see that amazing. I don't even know how that shot managed to hit that guy. But this reload is just so good. You're able to slam shell after shell after shell into the enemy. Um, I'm not even worried about my hit points as of right now, just because of how good this gun is. And I usually know that this SU-152, as soon as he shoots, he has about a 14-second reload, and I'm trying to track him. As soon as I manage to track him, he's pretty much dead. But I'm able to put 3 shells in him and back up fine. And this EC-8 thinks he has the jump on me. Shoot him once, and my team kills him. And with that easy and simple game, I managed to survive and do 2,777 damage. I earned great credits, as you can see, another 60,000. Don't be expecting to get a mastery in this vehicle, just because of how popular and played it is. But you can see this vehicle is able to deal with Tier 7s with relative ease. It can shoot Tier 6s, and Tier 5s it can just bully. It earns very nice credits. Overall, I do think it's probably the best vehicle you could buy in the store. If you don't want to spend money on these high-tier tanks, if you don't want to buy the WZ-112 because it's a crate system, buy the Cromwell B. It's only 4,500 gold. Like the Chrysler's 15,000 gold, and you're not even getting a great vehicle for your money. The WZ, the only issue with it is you're not going to play that vehicle for a while. It gets quite boring. This Cromwell B, I've liked it so much over the years I've owned it. I have a total of 487 battles in it, which is a lot compared to most of my vehicles, judging that it's like my 10th most played vehicle in the game out of 200 or so. So really, this tank is very good. But other than that, guys, this will be the end of my video. If you have any other comments or suggestions, hit me up, and I will be open to any answers. Thanks.